Good day everyone, my name is Rayven the Asis from 11 McKenzie. Today I will discuss about what is feminist theory and the four basic principles of feminist theory, and lastly, the types of feminism. So first, let me introduce what is feminist theory. Feminist theory or feminism is support of equality for men and women. Although all feminists strive for gender equality, there are various ways to approach this theory, including liberal feminism, socialist feminism, and radical feminism. Now, let's take a look at the basic feminist ideas and various approaches to achieving gender equality. Both females and males who identify themselves as feminists disagree on many things. So feminist theory is one of the major contemporary sociological theories which analyze the status of women and men in our society with the purpose of using that knowledge to better women's lives. Feminist theory also questions the difference in women, including now, race, class, ethnicity, sexuality, nationality, and age intersect with gender. Sociologist Patricia Hill Collins is known out the field for deploying the concept of intersectionality in her theory and research. Feminist theory is most concerned with giving a voice to women and highlighting the various ways women contributed to society. The four basic principles of feminist theory. First is working to increase equality. Feminist thought links ideas to action, insisting we should push for change towards gender equality and not just talk. We can improve or increase equality in workplace in many ways, but the best way is to not over-little everyone because all of us can do a better work if there's no judgment at all. Second was the expanding human choice. Feminists believe that both men and women should have the freedom to develop their human interests and talents, even if those interests and talents conflict with status quo. For example, there is a woman who wants to be a mechanic. She should have the right and opportunity to do so, because all of us have a freedom to do what we want for ourselves. Third was the eliminating gender stratification. Feminists oppose laws and cultural norms that limit incomes, educational, and job opportunities for women, because typically, in some research, where men inhabit higher statuses than women. Fourth was the ending sexual violence and promoting sexual freedom. In this principle, there are four main types of feminist theory that attempt to explain the societal differences between men and women. First was the gender differences. This was the gender difference perspective examines how women's location in and experience of societal situation differ from men's. Second was gender inequality. Gender inequality theories recognize that women's locations in and experience of societal situations are not only different but also unequal to men. Third is gender oppression. Gender oppression go farther than theories of gender difference and gender inequality, arguing that not only are women different from unequal to men, but they have actively oppressed, subordinated, and even abused men. Lastly, fourth was the structural oppressions. Theories posit that women's oppressions and inequality are the result of capitalism and racism. And for the last discussion, we have types of feminism. First was liberal feminism. This kind of feminism works within the structure of mainstream society to integrate women into it and make more responsive to individual women's rights, but but does not directly challenge the system itself or the ideology behind women's oppression. The suffragist movement is an example. Number 2 was radical feminism. Radical feminism views and sexism as the most elemental factor in women oppression, cutting across all others from race and age to culture, caste and class. It questions the very system and ideology behind women's subjection. The term often refers to the women's movements emerging from the civil rights, peace, and other liberation movements at a time when people increasingly were questioning different forms of oppressions and power. Radical feminism, seeking to understand the roots of women's subordination, have provided the major theoretical understanding that has served as the basis for the inspiration and analysis guiding women's movements around the world. Third was the Black feminism, school of thought which argues the sexism, class oppressions, gender identity, and racism are bound together. The way these concepts relate to each other is called intersectionality. The term intersectionality theory was the first coined by legal scholar Kimberly Crenshaw in 1989. In her work, Crenshaw discussed Black feminism, which argues that the experience of being a Black woman cannot be understood in terms of being Black or being a woman. Each concept is considered independently but must include the interactions which frequently reinforce each other. Kambahi River Collective argued in 1974 that the liberation of Black women entails freedom of all people, since it would require the end of racism, sexism, and class oppression. Fourth was Marxist and Socialist feminism. Feminists grounded in Marxist and Socialist analysis attribute women's oppression principally to the capitalist economic system where global corporate power prevails. Many other feminists believe that this form of power seen in the class system is a crucial factor in women's subordination, but see as the major force behind women's subjection. 5 was the cultural feminism. Cultural feminism emphasized essential differences between men and women. In terms of biology, personality, and behavior, women are seen to have different and superior virtues that provide the foundation of shared identity, solidarity, and sisterhood. Since by nature women are viewed as kinder and gentler than men, it follows that if women were in power, the world would be a better place in the 1960s and 70s. Some women supported the idea of forming separate women-only cultures. 6 was ecofeminism. This form of feminism views patriarchy and its focus on control and domination not only as a source of women's oppression, but as a being harmful to humanity, as well as destructive of all living creatures and the earth itself, combining a more comprehensive analysis of a power often with a greater spiritual basis. Ecofeminists see women's rights and empowerment link creatures and Mother Nature itself. 7 was the transitional or global feminism. This approach to feminism is concerned mainly about how globalization and capitalism affect people across the nationalities, races, ethnicities, genders, classes, and sexualities, and has reinforced a range of global movements. It recognized inequalities across different groups of women and the importance of intersectionality as a way to understand and engage difference. While global issues do not affect women in the same way. Because of these differences, the impact of these issues and power dynamics are seen to be crucial to feminist social justice agendas. This vision understands the need for comprehensive approaches that integrate multiple issues and movements to find common cause across agendas to ensure long-term social transformation. Lastly, number 8. Visionary feminism is a wise and loving politics. It is rooted in the love of male and female being of the soul of feminist politics. Is this a commitment to ending patriarchal domination of women and men? Girls and boys love cannot exist in any relationship that is based on domination and compassion. Males cannot love themselves in patriarchal culture if their very self-definition relies on submission to patriarchal rules. When men embrace feminist thinking and practice, which emphasize the value of mutual growth and self-actualization in all relationships, their emotional well-being will be enhanced. A genuine feminist politics always bring us from bondage to freedom. From loveless to loveness to loving.